Verse of my father's life. He was determined to not let the misery that he had been through in jail to define him. And when he got out, he got out of prison. He's still very much a young man, and he was tough. But he was gentle, and he was funny, and he was warm, and he was affectionate with his sons. And he'd take us body surfing at Oceanside. I can just name beaches out here. We'd hang on to him in the surf. And so much of life was like that. It was tumultuous and difficult. My dad had this steadying presence. So as my brother and I grew up, we very predictably, as Joles, started getting in trouble ourselves. We did school and smoked weed behind the church, that kind of thing. And it got Oh, clap for that. And eventually it got worse, and for my brother, he got shipped off to rehab. And it scared me because the drugs really broke him. He got pretty serious into drugs fairly early on. So I kind of went the other direction. I started to study really hard, and I had this sense that I needed to outrun it, that I needed to be so special that nothing bad could ever happen to me. So in the midst of all this, my dad and I he took me to the racetrack. We used to go to Del Mar. And then we La Jolla, I'm just gonna name Let's make this easy. Just gonna walk out and say, La Jolla, Oceanside. That's our time, good night. So in the midst of all this, my dad and I, we went to Hollywood Park one afternoon, and I was dealing with all this heavy stuff, like AP tests and SAT and college apps, and in the background somewhere was this idea in my mind that if I didn't outrun it, that if I didn't ace the SAT or whatever, I'd end up in prison. So I told my dad about it, and I just wanted him to dispense, some fatherly wisdom, some calm words of support and guidance. And I remember he turned to me in that moment in the stands at Hollywood Park. And we were out there, father and son, sharing our lives and our dreams, our fears. And I remember his face silhouetted against the clouds. And he turned to me and he said, Mick, he called me Mick, he said, Mick, you're right. It's a lot. Don't fuck it up. I was like, what the hell, Dad? And he turned to me and laughed, and he kind of put his arm around me and he said, listen, you're a good kid, and you're gonna be a good man. And none of this matters as much as you think it does. And there was always something about that to me. Here I was telling him all these impressive reasons to love me, and he just laughed and told me he loved me just for being born. And that's the kind of man he was. That's the kind of father he was. And he was my best friend. And this song is about him. And it sure seems clear to me, as far as I can see.